A company reports that a recently deployed batch of workstations is experiencing frequent kernel panics and B-side errors. The errors appear across multiple machines, but were not present before deployment. What is the best initial step to diagnose the issue? A, roll back to a previous stable driver version. B, check event viewer logs and analyze error codes. C, swap out the power supplies and affected machines. D, reinstall the OS and test with a clean installation. Three, two, one. All right, so that question had some acronyms in it, right? And acronyms can be deadly inside of the exam room. They can literally sneak up behind you and choke the shit out of you inside of the exam room. So I'm going back just to show you a few things. So B-side stands for blue screen of death. In this instance, I think it would have been helpful for you to know what that stood for. And just in general, it would be really helpful for you to know what things stand for. So in this situation, you would just check event viewer logs and analyze error codes. So the event viewer is exactly what it sounds like. It allows you to view the events that have happened, to figure out when did things break, who was logged on, what software they were using, so on and so forth. So since the issues affects multiple machines, it's likely caused by a driver, software update, or firmware issue. Event viewer logs can provide critical information on system crashes, allowing targeted troubleshooting rather than blindly reinstalling software. A cybersecurity team notices that an unauthorized device connecting to corporate networks from a conference room. The device is using a spoof MAC address to bypass network restrictions. What security measure would most effectively prevent this type of attack? A, enable network segmentation using VLANs. B, implement 802.1x authentication on the network. C, configure the firewall to block unknown MAC addresses. D, use port mirroring to monitor all traffic from unknown devices. Three, two, one. Implement 802.1x authentication on the network. So 802.1x authentication requires users and devices to authenticate before gaining network access. That's going to prevent unauthorized devices from connecting, even if they use a spoof MAC address. VLAN segmentation alone does not authenticate devices. So VLAN segmentation is a virtual LAN or virtual local area network. Segmentation just means that you're separating those networks just to make sure that troubleshooting is easier. And if something does happen, it doesn't propagate around the entire network. A spoof MAC address just means that you figure out a valid MAC address that is on the network. So a MAC address is just the physical address of devices on your network. And when you spoof it, you try to act as if that device is another device, right? So the real devices on the network, we try to act, not even you, they try to act like that another device is that device, to try to steal information, to try to do a man in the middle attack, to try to do something that is not feasible, something that you are not looking for, something that you don't want to happen. A forensic investigator is reviewing logs from a compromised workstation. The logs show that the system has access was accessed via remote desktop protocol, RDP, multiple times over a public Wi-Fi network. The system also has multiple failed login attempts, followed by a successful login using an administrator account. What was the most likely attack method? A, man in the middle. B, credential stuffing. C, SQL injection. Or D, brute force attack. 3, 2, 1. So a brute force attack is one of the oldest attacks you can do, where basically it tries to brute force its way into a system, brute force its way into a device, so on and so forth, just putting as many passwords, configurations, attempts as possible into that software, that device, or that system. The pattern of repeated failed login attempts followed by success strongly indicates a brute force attack, where an attacker systematically guesses credentials until access is granted. Using multi-factor authentication would have mitigated this attack. Because even if they figured out the credentials, figured out the password, you still would have to, or they would have to have another piece of the puzzle to get authenticated, right? So if it was a RFID card, if it was a fingerprint, an iris scan, they would have to have the password plus something else. We talked about that earlier. So if you remember, just a few questions ago, we talked about multi-factor authentication, and the actual exam is the exact same way. So something that is later on in the actual exam may spark something previously in the exam, right? So if you're going through this stuff and you read the question, you read all the answers, you have no idea what the hell it's talking about, just skip it, because something down the line is going to spark your memory. A high security data center requires that all employees use biometric authentication before accessing critical systems. However, some employees have been able to bypass authentication using stolen access badges. What security mechanisms should be implemented to prevent this? A, implement multi-factor authentication with biometric verification. B, disable for all employees without direct managerial approval. C, restrict badge usage to daytime hours only. D, enforce stronger password policies for badge access. Three, two, one. All right, so for this scenario, implement multi-factor authentication with biometric verification. So that's a triple threat, right? So pretty much you got to have a multi-factor authentication, plus you got to verify biometrically. So biometrics is just mean that you have to authenticate using something that is biologically a part of you, right? So if employees can bypass biometric authentication using stolen badges, the system is only using badge-based authentication. Implementing biometric MFA ensures that both something the user has, like a badge, and something the user is, are required for access. A user is experiencing major performance issues when running a virtualized environment on their desktop. Task Manager shows that CPU usage is at 95%, even when only one virtual machine is running. You check the BIOS and notice that a key virtualization system is disabled. What settings should you enable to resolve the issue? A, secure boot. B, hyperthreading. C, VT-X /AMD-V, or D, XMP. Now, if you haven't done so yet, drop a comment in the comment section and just let me know what you're working on. Are you working on core 1? Are you working on core 2? Are you skipping A+ altogether? Are you starting with another certification? And also let me know if there's any certification that you want me to cover through this stuff. I'm going to be dropping a ridiculous amount of value over the next couple months. You're going to see me a lot more. So if it's anything that you want me to drop, just let me know. But like I said, right now, like the video and comment. If you're still listening, if you're still hearing my voice and you haven't done so, you just want to buck the system, go to hell. All right, so here is the answer. 3, 2, 1. So for this, you would use VT-X and AMD-V. So one of them is by Intel, the other one is by AMD, of course, and they're both for virtualization. So they allow for the processor to efficiently handle virtual machines. If disabled, the CPU struggles to run virtual machines efficiently, leading to excessive usage and poor performance. So they basically just make sure that they prioritize what they need to prioritize. If not, the CPU kind of just think like, I don't know if I'm supposed to prioritize the virtual machine, the real machine, so on and so forth. So understand that virtual machines are machines that run on a physical machine, right? So if the physical machine is struggling, then the virtual machine most likely is either not going to work or it's going to be struggling too. A financial institution reports that multiple users are experiencing unauthorized wire transfers from their computers, despite having strong password policy and endpoint protection in place. After forensic analysis, you discover that an undetected process has been injecting code into legitimate Windows services. The attack persists even after rebooting the systems. What is the most likely cause and best mitigation? A, the machines have been affected with the rootkit. Re-image all affected systems. B, users fell victim to a phishing attack. Reset all passwords immediately. C, the firewall is improperly configured. Block outgoing connections to all ports. D, the organization is facing an SQL injection. Patch all database servers. 3, 2, 1. For this, the best thing to do would be have all the devices re-imaged. So a rootkit is a real bad one, right? A real bad one. And most times you can't recover things. You can't really do anything about it other than pretty much wiping the actual device and then putting a new image, new operating system, new everything on there because they're super advanced. They get deep inside the operating system and it's hard to move around them, right? Because you would hate to, okay, I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. And you start to treat the device like a regular device and the rootkit is still there, still gathering information, still deleting stuff, still doing all the stuff that you don't want it to do. In essence, a rootkit actually takes over admin privileges to your device. So you wouldn't want to start rocking up, doing stuff, doing online banking, filling out invoices, doing this, doing that. And the rootkit is always there. And the person is just waiting for you to do the right thing and then take over the admin privileges either while you aren't there or while you are there, and it will be all bad. All right. So rootkits are advanced forms of malware that embed themselves deep into the OS to evade detection by traditional antivirus solutions. Symptoms like injected code into Windows services and persistence after rebooting indicate rootkit behavior. Reimaging the systems is the only way to fully remove a rootkit, as it operates at a level that typical malware removal tools cannot fully clean. All right, gang. So if this was valuable to you, if you want to see more stuff like this, like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notification, and watch the videos that we have on the channel. There's probably a couple videos popping up right now, and there's probably a few other ones that are suggested on YouTube right now. Other than that, I'll see you in class.